Good afternoon. It's just a little bit after 3 o'clock. Welcome to the March episode of the Water Management Committee regular meeting, March 6th. This is our call to order. Do we have anybody waiting to dial in, Amber? Nope, seeing none. Do we have any public comments that we'd like to address at this point? No public comments? Okay. Indian Wells Valley Groundwater Authority. I guess Mr. Griffin.
Yes. At last month's meeting, there wasn't a whole lot on the agenda. The only thing that really was there besides the consent agenda was a resolution 0224, and it authorized a reimbursement agreement with Antelope Valley East Kern Water Agency. I did vote no on that, just so everybody's aware. I didn't feel that we were in a position yet to pay a $75,000 retainer to Antelope Valley Water, and so I voted no on that. Other than that, that's it, except for closed session. The next meeting will be Wednesday of next week, so there is another meeting scheduled for Wednesday. And that's really all there was on that meeting.
Okay, and it's too early for them to have the...
Yeah, we don't have the agenda out yet.
Okay. It usually comes out Tuesday night.
Yeah, it'll come out. Well, she's been actually very good about getting it out. I've been getting it on Friday night or Saturday, so it's been very good. It's been better. So I do appreciate that because it gives me a little bit of time to research and study through. So
Sure, be prepared. That's good.
I definitely appreciate them getting them to us earlier.
Hopefully they stay with that track.
I hope so.
Track record, yeah. Questions, comments? Yep.
Okay, it's on now. All right. I'm Mike Neal again. So I was pleased to find out that the latest documentation on the adjudication case is on the district website. As I recall, I seem to have a little bit of trouble drilling all the way down to it. It's on there, and all this stuff that the GA's been whining about, you don't show us the data, it's all in there now. The latest filing, or whatever you want to call it, header on the website, I looked at that. I mean, there's more technical data than most people are ever going to want to look at, but there's a lot of maps about the extent of the basin, how deep the water is, the reasons and the whole line of reasoning for why they think, the 6 consultants think that there's a whole lot more water in the basin than the GA's ever been saying at all. And, not just total water, but recharge significant, almost twice what the GA's been saying. So I urge this committee and the district as a whole to broadcast the location of that particular part of their website and make it widely known to the public so anybody can say, well, what's the reason? It's all in there now. They can look at it. I asked it before. It wasn't available. I looked for the Ramble data on the California website. That was impossible. I don't think it was even there. But it's in this filing for the lawsuit. And so it's all out in the open. The GA can't complain anymore. They just had to figure out how to combat it and push their views, see if they could prevail in their viewpoint.
Yeah, thanks, Mike.
Thank you, Mike.
We're certainly aware of that, and we'll take some steps to figure out how to get the public more aware of it as well. It was a topic of the GA meeting today, so it sounds like they have seen it. I think I saw a reference from you that
Yes,
Johnson was looking
the
through
GA's, the GA has seen the white, I guess we'll call it the white paper on water and storage. I asked that they consider that data when they're updating their groundwater sustainability plan, and we had some discussions about that. I know they're reading it and looking at it. Didn't get any significant objections to anything that was in there. So
Good.
they have it, they know it exists, and they're looking at it.
Yeah, maybe it'll lend, or maybe this will lead to them being a little bit more open as well about the DRI model and some things that they've known. So it's, Okay, good. Yeah, thanks again, Mike, for pointing that out. We sometimes aren't aware of how difficult it is to navigate some of the web pages that we put out there, so it sounds like maybe there's some pointers that we could help with that. Yeah.
Okay.
I agree. When I went looking for it, I had a hard time finding it myself.
Yeah, so we need to do something because there is a lot of questions on social media and stuff people are asking with, so we need to get that out there.
Yeah.
So I'll put a plug in for our, we have an email subscription, and I'll talk to our firm that sends out what we call the email blasts, and we'll get them to put out an email blast as a direct link and explains how to get there.
Okay. I've been seeing some postings from the Water District on the, was it the WTF Ridgecrest or one of the other Ridgecrest sites that pops up? You can see things like Water Smart, and so we do have another one that we should be.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, okay.
So we'll put it out there.
You'll look into that. Okay, thank you. Item 4, future DWP water releases. Where would we on that?
I don't know where we're at as a whole, but I know where I would like to be. I think we really need to be working with DWP and trying to look at some ways we can contain some of the water. I'm not 100% positive because I have not talked to DWP, but I am working in Olancha, and it appears to me that they're releasing right now because there's water running out of 5 Mile Canyon, crossing Highway 395, and then there's also water up a little bit higher above Little Lake. I've seen there's water coming down that canyon, so it appears to me that they're releasing right now. So we need to be doing something to catch that water because all the water in 5 Mile is coming straight down above Pearsonville, which is coming into our basin. So we need to be looking at some avenues.
Okay.
Yeah, for a while I was getting routine reports on those releases, but they stopped coming. I'm not sure why. I'll look into that.
Yeah, well, we also have some storm and some snowpacks.
Yeah,
so it might be
snowpack,
natural.
but I'll check with David that works for DWP. I know him, and I'll check and
Well,
see
and
because he
I
runs
still have
that.
a contact from the last time they did the releases that was giving us the reports. I'll forward that to you, George, if that's not what you have.
Yeah, I still have I'll just find the old release reports and just.
Yeah, they were pretty regular last year, weren't they?
Yeah.
Okay, well, part of the challenge, of course, is where we would put it.
Yeah, we
It's-
have to figure out we need to look at some project, in my opinion, to where we could, drill a shallow well and do some injection through shallow well with percolation at that point. And if we could build some reservoirs, I think it would benefit us. So, and I know Mr. Parker, I'd asked him about that, and he said they do it all over the state. So that would be a way we could inject without treating. If we just did some shallow wells and then let the ground filter it as it went down into the water table. So
Yeah,
maybe we could get through some of the clay layers and then get to the sand to let it percolate.
Mhm.
You just stole my comment from me. How other than the fact of getting through the clay layers is a big deal. What I've seen, I will look at this over the years, in the foothills, it doesn't appear the clay layers are a problem. You've got a bunch of porous sand, so catching releases from the aqueduct may be easy over there, unless it's too fast to release. But it might bear some looking around to see if anybody's got a great idea about how to punch a bunch of holes through clay layers in a basin like this. So when we get just inches of rain, like we've had, last few years, whatever, all over the basin, that we grab some of that, not just the, DWP overflow. Because I think Chuck pointed out, like, you get an inch of rain in the valley, you got 80,000 acre feet coming down, so it's a lot.
Yeah.
So if you could catch a third of that in a high rain year, you grab up several years of what is now quote unquote the allocation. So.
Yeah, I think Hillary, we estimated something like 450,000 acre feet of water land in the valley.
Yeah, it's interesting looking at statewide, and Jason sent me a link to a water release at Lake Shasta. How many billion gallons was it? I don't remember. It was in the billions of gallons. I don't know.
I don't remember the gallons, but it was 813,000 acre feet of water that they released.
Yeah.
It's enough to supply our allocation for the next 1,000 years or something.
Keep the smelt happy, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's important.
Get rich.
and that's California. I mean, it's, you know, it's feast or famine, and right now we're in the feast part, but you gotta be ready for that when it comes.
Yep.
And that's what I'd like to see is us prepared for it. So,
It just seems like maybe there's something extra we should tee this up for a district meeting to, because I agree with you, but we don't seem to be getting off top center, so it's like somebody needs to be assigned an action item and maybe an ad hoc team, or maybe Krieger or Stewart can come back and give us some.
yeah, I think even if we worked with Public Works on the base and we did something with the water
Yeah,
division out there, and we did a team effort between the United States Navy and the Water District where we could do some kind of a basin. You know, like Mr. Neal said, the water from the stormwater, most of it's coming to this end of the basin. So where the water is brackish, so we need to try to figure out some way to catch some of that water higher
mhm.
and do something with it. So it would be very beneficial if we could do it.
So by the time it gets out to Mirror Lake, which
Yeah.
most of it ends up getting out there, right?
It's just evaporating.
It's just evaporating. It's got a lot of clay in it, but that's just dirt, right? It's not a, you would think it'd be hard to filter that out, but,
Yeah.
man. Okay, potential impact of recycled water on district's need for imported water.
Not a lot to report on this one right now.
No.
I mean, we all know it would be beneficial to have recycled water, but the status quo is the city's waiting for funding to build their wastewater treatment plant, and there will be a place to put an advanced treatment area in and find ways to reutilize that water, but, you know, the dominoes have to fall in the sense that the first thing needs to happen is the city needs to get busy building the new wastewater treatment plant.
Is the current thought that the advanced treatment facility would be adjacent to the wastewater treatment plant, or?
I've heard a couple of different scenarios, depending on, I think, is the new wastewater treatment plant proposed to be on Navy property?
I believe so, yes.
And I think that was a bit of a stumbling block because that dramatically escalates costs, so it would be more cost effective to build it off Navy property due to some of the Davis Bacon wages and a lot of other things that contribute to additional costs when you build on federal property. So I don't know what the answer to that is, but clearly it would be more cost effective to find a place not far, but not on Navy property.
I believe Mayor Bruin is forecasting that maybe they're going to start construction of that plant next year.
I believe so.
I believe so, and I will say that George and I did have a meeting with Mr. Strand from the city, and the city seems open to working out some kind of agreement at some point. They didn't seem completely closed off, so that was good, and hopefully we can come to some type of an agreement, because there is a water line that does run back from that treatment plant now that sends water back to the alfalfa fields by the fairgrounds, so maybe we could do something with some of that water out there, if we could work something out. I don't want to make sure that anybody that's watching, I don't want to see the water from the wastewater go right to drinking water. So
Right.
let's make that very clear.
Right.
But
Toilet to tap is.
no, toilet to tap is not, I'm not on board with that, but just to make that clear.
Yeah, there's certainly ways you can do.
But there are things that we could do with that water, and
Sure.
we could put it to use, so.
Absolutely. Item 6, alternate water sources.
Nothing new on that front right now.
Okay.
More to come.
I would like to, I think this is where I may have injected this last time, but I still am interested in not losing the bubble on the brackish recovery work that we were doing, that we had this state funding for. This hasn't been discussed with anybody. I'll say it here just as an idea. But I don't know how many other people had this idea or not, but, you know, we basically came to a conclusion, I believe, that the brackish would work here because we had a problem with brine disposal, et cetera. Perhaps the cost of, and then getting access to the brackish water, which we believe most of it is under Navy property. I think were the major issues. I'm hoping Wade could make, Mr. Major could make time to come in and maybe give us a more detailed brief if he's available to do that. But my thoughts are, if it doesn't work here, might work in Searles. And if it works in Searles, and they don't have a problem with brine's disposal, because the brine is what they use for product, right? So you would think there'd be some opportunity there that would get around one of the hurdles, and one of the other hurdles, or if that's true, water or power, solar power capabilities over there should be as good as they are here. I mean, I know there's costs behind all that, but maybe if we could help them become more self-reliant, that could free up a couple thousand acre-feet of water.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, and hopefully we can work some kind of arrangement out. I don't think that, I know Searles had mentioned that they could use and dispose of the brine, or there was talk about that, but I don't think they would use the water that had salt in it, because they would drill a well over there if that was the case, because they have plenty of water. It's just, it's all brackish, so.
Right.
Yeah, there's gotta be solutions out there, and if we can work with them, I think we're beneficial, so I agree. And I would like to hear Mr. Major's work on that also. I think it's a great
did
idea.
communicate with him, and I asked him to do so once the final report is done.
Okay.
He said that he can make a presentation to this committee.
Okay, awesome. So I look forward to it.
Yeah, that could be a solution that we're not really even looking at.
Well, under the current definition, though, it's still not new water.
No.
So to say it won't free up any allocation the way it's defined at the moment.
Yeah.
But if Trona's
But
treating
Searles
over there,
Valley,
yeah.
water supply is not part of our Sigma
Yeah.
Yeah,
basin, so
Right.
it actually is new water.
yeah, it would be.
So because I'm the new guy, can I ask a quick question? Do we know to what extent Searles uses the water from this valley because they need a cleaner water source to provide Trona? And if Trona were, as a disadvantaged community, say you built a small pipeline out there for just potable water, would that change Searles' operating conditions about what they pump over there?
All I know is, well, and Chuck probably knows more, but, you know, they do the, they clean up the water that they import from here to make it ready for the water, to make it ready for the community of Trona. So that's something that Searles provides, is like a water company, I guess I would call
Yeah.
it.
So my question is, if they didn't have to do that, would it change the quality of water they needed?
No, I don't believe so, because they need fresh water for the chillers and everything.
Sure.
Running over there, they have to have potable water.
Okay.
But there could be solutions if we could work on some type of a desal or to do something to free up some of that water. You know, and if we could come up with that, then they could use their water there also. So there's solutions out there. I think we just have to think out of the box and quit. We got to focus on any avenue that we can look at and see how we can make it work. And there's enough people in this valley and within the government here. I mean, we can work together as a group to come up with some kind of plan. That's what I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. You know, I know it's not a good time to look at the state for extra funds, but the state had prioritized desalinization in their policy statements last year, to a point where the state had planned on putting billions of dollars available for doing both reverse osmosis and other more advanced desalinization techniques. So it's not a good year when you're $70 billion in the hole, but maybe when things get settled out, they may still have a priority for doing water recovery like that we can help Trona argue for.
Yep.
Get our two counties working together.
Yeah, I think we should keep every option open.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, well, we'll look forward to the briefing by Wade. Thank you for following up with that, Renee. Any future agenda items anybody wants to throw out? Okay, call the meeting at 3:20. Thanks, everybody.